Breaking news, the Chicago Bears have traded for Montez Sweat. Ryan Poles has added an elite pass rusher to this defense, trading a 2024 second-round pick to the Washington Commanders for defensive end Montez Sweat. Let's go, Ryan Poles. The rumors have been swirling, and I think every single person that watches my videos knows we need help at defensive end. That help has arrived. Montez Sweat has more sacks this year than our entire defensive line combined. He also has nearly as many pressures as our entire defensive line as well. This is a huge get and instantly upgrades our entire defense. He grades out very well versus both the run and the pass. Last season he had 8 sacks, 30 tackles for loss, and 62 quarterback pressures. You heard me right, 62. Our team leader had 30. PFF credits Sweat with 8 sacks already and 27 QB pressures this season alone. Now, he did have the benefit of playing with a stacked defensive line in Washington, but he is still an elite pass rusher and instantly becomes the best player on our entire defensive line. This is going to open things up for Yannick Ngakoue, DeMarcus Walker, Gervon Dexter, and the rest of this defensive line. I love this move. Yes, it cost us a second-round pick next year, but Ryan Poles may already be looking to recoup that pick by either trading Jalen Johnson or trading down with one of his 2 first-round picks next year. Poles has given himself even more flexibility with this move by addressing our team's biggest need on the entire roster at defensive end. I've talked a lot about Chase Young and how I was a huge fan of him as a freak pass rusher, and I'll admit it, I wanted Chase Young more than Montez Sweat, but it was just a personal preference. The Commanders chose to keep Chase Young and trade Sweat, who is also an absolute freak athletically and as a pass rusher. Sweat scored a 9.9 on his relative athletic score, and he's a pure freak of an athlete. He also ran a 4.41 40-yard dash at the combine. It was the fastest time by a defensive lineman since 2003. He was faster than all but 2 running backs at the combine. But he's not a project as a freak athlete. Not like some of these other guys who Poles has brought in, who are just freaks athletically and projects on the football field. Montez Sweat is an accomplished NFL star who just turned 27 years old and already has 35 career sacks. He's also an elite company as a pass rusher. In the last 5 years, there are only 7 players in the NFL with at least 5 sacks every season. Those players are Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Khalil Mack, Brian Burns, Max Crosby, Chris Jones, and you guessed it, Montez Sweat. He's an elite company in that regard as a pass rusher. Welcome to Chicago, Montez. He should instantly be a starter, which will most likely cause Yannick Ngakoue and DeMarcus Walker to rotate at the other end spot. It's also possible that DeMarcus Walker slides inside the defensive tackle more, taking Justin Jones' spot and getting some reps in there at 3-tech with Ngakoue and Sweat as our defensive ends. This is plain and simply a huge upgrade to our pass rush, which has been one of the worst in the NFL so far this year and all of last season. He is a freak athlete, a productive pass rusher, an edge setter in the run game, with rare traits and the potential to be an all-pro player for the rest of his career. He's a natural pass rusher with elite traits who uses his long 35-plus inch arms to shed blockers with ease. He legit has every trait you look for in a defensive end, and he's just entering his prime. His best football is still ahead of him. I've watched a lot of tape on the Commanders' defensive line, but I will be doing an all-22 on this guy soon. He has great football instincts, incredible burst off the line of scrimmage, awesome speed to power moves. He's a natural pass rusher with the power to anchor and redirect in the run game as well. Actually, since 2020, he's graded out as the best run defender in the entire NFL at defensive end with a 90.5 run grade. He has very active hands and is great in pursuit. He's a smart, talented football player who's playing at a Pro Bowl level. If you're a defensive guy and you're looking for a jersey to buy, this is a guy whose jersey you should buy. He rocked number 90 with the Commanders. Currently, Dominique Robinson is number 90 for us, but I expect he's going to have to change his number again. This is another bold move by Ryan Poles. The playoffs are still a pipe dream this year, but I do expect this team to play much better football and build some momentum down the stretch. This completely changes our defense, though. Sweat is easily the best player on this defensive line and possibly the best player on our entire defense now as well. Getting a guy that talented for a second-round pick is awesome. I love it. He's in his prime, and there's no way we could have gotten a pass rusher this good in round 2 of next year's draft. This makes the Chicago Bears better right now. But this also makes us better in 2024 and 2025 as well, and going forward, as long as Ryan Poles can work out a long-term contract extension, which I think is a no-brainer. A deal will get done, knock on wood, but this is not the Chase Claypool scenario. Montez Sweat isn't a guy looking to rebound or fit in. This is a guy who's already playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level and is instantly one of the best players on our entire roster from day one. He will be a Chicago Bear long term. Ryan Poles is going to get a deal done. I wouldn't worry about that right now. Let Poles take care of business behind the scenes on that one. But this is Ryan Poles' biggest move since he traded the number 1 pick for DJ Moore and a bounty of draft picks. He has acquired some really big-time, talented superstar players this year. DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmunds, and Montez Sweat are all foundational building block type players that he can build the rest of this roster around. These type of players make other guys around them better. We've already seen it from DJ Moore this year. We've seen traces of it from Tremaine Edmunds, and now we're going to add Montez Sweat to that mix as well. These guys are locker room leaders and playmakers on the football field. This even further adds to my belief in Ryan Poles. He continues to make a lot of moves that I think are perfect for this rebuild. He has not been perfect himself. No GM is. So let's stop dragging him for the Velus Jones pick. This trade is an A++ for me. I will be watching a ton of All-22 film on him, and I hope to have a breakdown out very soon. If you missed it, I just dropped another video earlier on cornerback Jalen Johnson, who has requested a trade out of Chicago. Check that one out if you missed it. Let me know in the comments what you think of this trade for Montez Sweat and what it means for the Chicago Bears going forward. Please remember to hit that like button for me, guys. And until next time, bear down.